When the bomb hit, 80,000 people in Hiroshima died instantly, and in the years since, nearly 60,000 others have died, mainly from the effects of radiation. There was little left for miles around Ground Zero. There was no place to hide, to escape the fireball and the shock.
Only things we heard was some very powerful bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and then our life was in terrible chaos every day for our survival.
Sachiko Rawson remembers the day. She's alive to talk about it today in Oklahoma City in large part because she was living in Tokyo on that fateful day. She and her Oklahoma-born husband Art met after the war, during the Korean conflict. Somewhat ironic that she would end up in the United States, though her instance certainly isn't unique. They operate a successful Oriental food business, something she had missed before, and a TV repair business, something Art was into anyway.
So fortunate because it's so free. I come from old country, and I spend more than 30 years in this country now, and I found out what is freedom.
Times are good for the Rawsons, and Sachiko is happy. But the ability to enjoy the good times is tempered by the feelings shared by her and a lot of others this day.
No more war, because nobody win that war. It's win or lose. It's just both sides is loser to me.
Ma'am, that line is in use. Your number?
Is Joyce Carter the Carter there?
Like, will you pay?
Thank you.
Is it not ringing for you or whatever?
Jay, your name, please. Thank you.
We think that Bell Telephone can do better, that they can provide the same very useful service that we all want at a lower cost than $17 per person per month for a residential ratepayer. So that's going to be the argument.
Go ahead.
Ratepayer will be underwriting the cost of Bell Telephone's free enterprise. Argument is a higher rate of return the more investors they get, and the more sound way them to see the ratepayer's point of view through the use of equity. I don't know. It's going to be the ongoing struggle over there, particularly like I said. We really are worried about the people that are on a fixed income more than anybody else. The elderly people, the senior citizens of the state of Oklahoma, they just can't afford to keep paying more and more for these vital services. So we respect the fact that OG&E is making their case and they provide very valuable service. But we just don't think they need the amount of dollars they're asking for.
concerns me very much in the state of Oklahoma. It's my opinion that
the taxpayers are thinking about it, because here with the Horse Racing Commission, probably than any other committee that racing, and they would be issued a permit.
I do not believe that that figure is anywhere near correct. I believe it to be much, much lower than that. And I think there's a lot of misconception about the way that that figure is arrived at, and that we can clear up some of this. Training and through our involvement in looking at the collection.
If you've ever used one, this prevents the fish from slipping off. And the end of it is, if you ever hunted
we try to promote better relationships between the hunter and the farmers, teach them what, to respect farmers' property, how to identify the wildlife, the safe way to hunt. We want to promote a good, safe sport of hunting.
Covers that we gave out that night. I missed this.
By the turn of the century, we should have a pretty good eye on what the actual procedure will be, what the schedule will be, and when we're going to go about doing that. Some other people that are in the business claim they're going to be going for Mars about that time. So, but we'll wait and see. Of course, I'd like to do it tomorrow, and all the rest of us in the business think it would be very challenging, very interesting to do.
And of course, Joseph Allen. Do you know Joseph Allen? He's really, yeah. And it was, I tell you, I loved getting him to try to cover his skills and legislatures. And then he was 6,000 that actually were eligible, and then working with a couple of nations with state department of education.
It's a bitterly cold night last February, and City Detective Gary Ward, moonlighting as a security guard, is shot and killed by a man police say was trying to run off with a television set. The state contends this man, Alvin Parker, killed Detective Ward. The first witness this morning is a cousin of Parker. Oscar Henry Branham told the court that Parker came to his house a day or two after the shooting. Branham alleges Parker had a gun with him and that he left the gun with Branham. Branham says when he questioned Parker about the gun, Parker strongly denied doing anything wrong with the weapon. The prosecution contends that the gun is the weapon used to kill Detective Ward. Public defenders say many of the prosecution's key witnesses, including Branham, are convicted felons, and that fact should discredit their testimony. Prosecutors disagree.
When you're dealing with people who commit a crime like this, you have to deal with the kind of people that they run with. So I don't think that it's not unusual at all that we would have people who've got criminal records for witnesses.
Alvin Parker's lawyers say they can build a case that shows Parker didn't kill Detective Ward. They contend Parker wasn't even at the crime scene. To prove that, they'll question 12 witnesses tomorrow when the hearing continues. But prosecutors say they have a strong case, and they'll seek the death penalty. At the Oklahoma County Courthouse, Kent Boyd, News 4.
picture. I'd be naive if I thought all of our drivers didn't use drugs. We found that in the screening process, we're having about 20% of the people that take the test are positive for using drugs. But I wouldn't even hazard a guess at how many we have now that are using drugs.
So do you think last year when the buses were rolling, you had drivers that were taking drugs?
I think we probably did, yes. Somebody just told me that they smoked it in the last required drug test. And you said barge heads. You were going to do a drug test. Right. And I begin to think that might be, but I think back.
Other than being acquainted today, I'm not sure if they finished processing it at this time or not. Again, the contents of those conversations cannot be.
You come back and see us again.
On Thursday,
Bye-bye.
August the 15th, around 10:30 in the evening, two robbers entered the Pizza Inn at 4433 Northwest 23rd.
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like 2 medium cokes.
Okay.
One suspect was described as a Mexican male, in his 20s, about 6 foot tall, and he was wearing a red baseball cap. The other suspect was a white male in his mid-20s, about 5'9", 5'10", weighing about 190 pounds. He had blonde hair and a round face. The white male suspect gives the clerk a $5 bill, and as the clerk is counting out the change, the Mexican male comes around the corner and pulls a blue steel pistol.
Give me all your money.
The white male suspect reaches over the counter, grabs the money, both suspects take off and run out the door. If you have any information about this armed robbery or any other serious crime, contact Crimestoppers, 235-7300. All callers will remain anonymous, and you could earn up to a $1,000 reward. For Crimestoppers, thank you very much. I'm Detective Sugar Smith.
$138.
Still, that's awful low.
358 versus 300. Yes, extremely low.
Why is
best they can for the people? To me, and according to several preachers, it has been a running battle with BIA. They had a meeting. The bias of the Bureau of Indian Affairs in giving a man that was in the office. Next course of legal action is as soon as the Federal Bureau of Investigation agent comes in, we will present him with our documents, and hopefully he will take it and introduce it to the district attorney for prosecution. Basically, I feel like that it shows the bias.
If it gets too hot, come on back.
Putting out a fire is obviously dangerous for firefighters, but it's also expensive for cities across the state. And thanks to a recent Supreme Court decision, the economic burden for protection could cost much more. That ruling affects not only firefighters, but every other public employee. The Supreme Court says workers like Flint Walkup must get paid overtime and not comp time after putting in his normal work week. Firefighters in Oklahoma City usually work more than 50 hours a week. City officials tried to change that schedule to avoid paying overtime under the new law, but that effort got blocked in court by the firefighters union. So a battle has started over how public employees get paid, and some cities say losing it could mean less service.
Mr. Cantrell, you care to be first? The argument ended up in the state capitol at a hearing held by Senator Don Nichols. City and county officials argued they just can't pay the overtime, and they also say they can't control when emergencies will happen.
Some lady calls in at 2 o'clock in the morning and says, help me, he's breaking in here to try to rape me, and a lady called me back after 8 o'clock the next morning. I don't think that's going to work either.
But union spokesmen stress they deserve their compensation.
We've never even received comp time, much less overtime. We've had no compensation for the long work week that we work.
Nichols has already introduced a bill in Congress that would exempt public employees from the overtime rule. He says that will give governments back the right to decide how to pay their workers. Bob Donaldson, News 4.
The firemen turn off the water, stow their...
They call him the boss. His concerts, like this one in New York, sell out invariably. Many fans for this concert camped out for 5 days just to get tickets. It's a phenomenon, certainly, and a statement on the popularity of Bruce Springsteen. In Norman, Oklahoma, just 1 hour after the announcement that tickets for a Dallas show would go on sale. The tickets actually don't start selling until tomorrow morning, and many fans came prepared for a wait.
Okay, the ticket sale starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. Come back here at 8:30. We'll start lining up numerically.
These fans in line tonight are guaranteed tickets. Each is assigned a number and will take that place in line tomorrow. That eliminates camping out. But with only 2,000 tickets available and 4 to a customer, many said they would have stayed the night.
I was going to stay all night for his tickets because I love him. He's my idol.
Bruce Springsteen, born in the USA. That's what it's all about.
Me and Eric here flew to Denver to see him twice.
The next stop then is Dallas, September 13th, for those lucky enough to make the list and walk away with the hottest tickets in town. Dan Slocum, News 4. Long is serving 2 life sentences in Wyoming for kidnapping convictions. He was brought to Oklahoma today to face murder charges in the Charlotte Kinsey Cinderpallet case. The girls have been missing for 4 years. Bodies have never been found in the case, but prosecutor Bob Macey feels his other evidence is strong.
We will present evidence to the jury that he was in fact in town on those days, that he was in fact at the Oklahoma State Fair, and that he was in fact in the presence of the girls that evening. And our evidence will indicate that he was the last person that was seen with the girls the last time they were seen alive.
They've had over 100 sightings of the little girl over the last 2 years, of both the little girls over the last 2 years, as recently as April in Miami. It's just going to be a tough old case. They don't have any bodies, as they said before, but it's going to be tough all the way around.
The sentences Long is currently serving in Wyoming are for convictions in cases similar to the Pallet Kinsey case. The father of one of the missing Oklahoma girls spoke with News 4 tonight. He says he just wants some answers.
I certainly feel like he knows more than he's telling, due to the fact he has definitely been established with the girls here in Oklahoma than the things that he was involved in out in Wyoming. I want an answer. I want an answer.
And there are 180 days to get those answers before the state of Oklahoma must return Long to Wyoming.
The liquor retailers have on their shelves today will cost as much as 10% more in just 60 days. The federal tax on liquor has remained constant in recent years, but this increase will be dramatic. The new tax will prompt a $6.34 increase on any case of 100 proof liter-sized bottles. Many retailers in other states are seeing consumers stockpile alcohol. In fact, some liquor store owners in Texas have taken out ads encouraging customers to buy now and avoid the tax. But in Oklahoma, that's not going on.
We can't advertise, and in reality, as far as the retailer is concerned, or any other level of distribution, they have nothing to gain by selling the products ahead of time, except for the fact that the tax is due April 1st, and it might prevent them from having to borrow money to pay the tax in April.
When the tax goes into effect on October 1, prices will literally jump overnight. The cost to consumers should increase about 10%, but prices on the retail level may jump even higher than that. The major distillers are considering a price increase, which may prompt many consumers to start stockpiling alcohol. In northwest Oklahoma City, Kurt Autry, News 4.
I saw the exhibit and decided to find out if I'm as healthy as I feel.
What'd you find out?
That I have the body of a 22-year-old but need to diet and buckle my seatbelt. Sure. Let's see, where is Reagan? Oh, no, I can't find it. It's down in here. There's the station that we have.
Okay, so this really isn't a huge
Infestation being like germs. At this time, they're not a problem, and the potential is there, and that's why we're doing a survey. We want to determine if there is an infestation and then the extent of that infestation.
Several members of the... It seems to me that a museum with millions of dollars worth of art, I've heard numbers from $30 to $50 million as the value of the collection there, ought to be able to operate in the black. In addition to the income it has from visitors, there have been some fairly generous contributors to the operation, and I don't understand why there is a very large accumulation of unpaid bills.
Talking to you so far today.
1985 may be an off year for national elections, but politicking is in full swing at the White House. Oklahoma State Senator Helen of Moore and State Representative Sue Milton of Midwest City were part of a select group of Republican women hosted by Maureen Reagan. The hostess's father, the president, told the friendly guests he's counting on them for help with his fall agenda on tax reform.
I'll be in many of your states, possibly many of your communities, and I'll be looking for your help because it's at the grassroots level that our tax proposal will find the energy, determination, and willpower needed to topple the status quo.
Afterwards, Senator Cole said she thinks there's a need to spread the word.
I think there's a lot of interest, but I don't think that they are really aware of the president's plan. Whether or not that's because we've just been through raising the taxes in Oklahoma and through a very trying and long session, I don't know, but I've not heard nearly as much about it as I would like to. And
Representative Milton hopes Oklahomans won't be put off by the potential loss of federal deductions for state and local taxes.
You have to look at the bottom line, that even though one deduction may be taken away, as long as the tax rates go down, that it may be at best a wash, and it might even be preferable and economically advantageous to them.
Cole and Milton now head home to Oklahoma, knowing they can't pick their audiences quite as carefully as the president picks his. But they will hear from taxpayers on the Reagan plan as word of it spreads, and they may find that at the local level, tax simplification is not so simple after all. Scott Libben, News 4, Washington.
We came out to see that big bird.
It's kind of early, isn't it?
And it's not too early to see something like that.
Why? What's the fascination with something like that?
Oh, I've always been fascinated with flight and airplanes. I just love to see them. We like to come out here to the airport even when they don't have something like this.
If we go to
the price we pay for having telephone service.
think somebody in Oklahoma,
Except when and as, and in those places in which the purpose of utility regulation continues to another picture. They're just more efficient. So that what I do see as perhaps possible, again, that's a complicated question. I certainly do not think that we are in a position in most parts of the country to deal.
Some of the other breeds represent.
I think we should move forward. And again, I thank you for your time.
Are there any clarifications? Right now, the racing commission. Okay.
Tell you how they feel out there. Who got out and worked for this? They feel just like Moses did when he called out, "Let my people go." That's the way these people feel out there. They want to have an opportunity to track and not to dictate where they're going to be. Put it up front. If they've got the money, let them have it. Thank you.
And read your address, and if it's wrong, fill up the back row of the jury box first, starting with the closest seat to me, and then fill up the front row of the jury box, starting with the closest seat to me.
Marcella Y. Moore.